Yes, Andariel, yes. So we get to reimagine things, right? And so Andariel, if you played Diablo 2, she's coming back in a very big way in Diablo 4.
Is sex and nudity too much for audiences and banned by Blizzard in Diablo 4?
You lure no more men to their deaths.
The impetus for this video is a community comment which I'm trying to answer more in my content directly. So thank you for all of your comments, and I think this video is proof that no subject is too taboo and I may make a video out of it. And the comment was a question I've encountered more and more after creating the Andariel Returns video in Diablo 4, in which fans have become vocal about Andariel's design, which has changed drastically, causing speculation that this may be Blizzard's wry effort to censor anything deemed too provocative, even with demons of the burning hells, showing Andariel's once deadly, voluptuous appearance all but muted, or another way of putting it, the sex is sucked out of the succubus. Try saying that 6 times fast. Coupled with the fact there was an article sourced directly from Diablo 2 staff comments that confirmed there was an internal mandate on topless monsters. I'm not making this up. The 90s were a different time. It was a quota that artists had to fill from management in Diablo 2's development. So in this video, we will explore if sex has been banned in Diablo 4, what are the concrete signs that this is true or false, if any? Also, if true, why would Blizzard decide the denizens of hell itself needed censorship? And perhaps most importantly, what does it mean for fans wanting to keep all the evil, including sexy demons, in Diablo 4? 9. In a PC Games article titled Diablo 2 artists had a topless monster quota, and it reads, Diablo 2 is one of the most beloved entries in the Blizzard canon, and at least part of that is due to its memorable monster design. The game's creatures are typically threatening, demonic, gross, or otherwise unpleasant, but a select few fall into an extra category: sexy. That includes Andariel, the final boss of the game's first act, who appears with some monstrous appendages, but the general shape of Frank Frazetta-approved human woman, complete with bits of a metal bikini and a superfluous chain connecting nipple piercings. Funnily enough, female artist Chris Renkovitz did the initial design, emphasizing Andariel's size and silhouette, while Phil Schenk reworked that design into the metal album sex symbol the demon eventually became. Making monsters sexier was a directive during the game's development. A spreadsheet from lead design Eric Schaefer specified certain types of monsters that were needed for the game, across categories ranging from small and large to spellcasting and melee. And then one of the categories was topless, Phil Schenk says. They said, yeah, we need a certain number of topless monsters because they all liked the succubi in the first Diablo. Now this comes via an excerpt of David L. Craddock's upcoming Blizzard history, Stay a While and Listen, Book 2, as published on Shack News, and the book covers Blizzard's development through the late 90s and early 2000s. Now while in today's standards, the aforementioned category would no doubt be lambasted if it was discovered by the general public, personally I believe when depicting hell, sin, demons, look, anything goes. In fact, the more taboo, the more demonic, and true to their depiction within reason. No sex or nudity just for the sake of it, but it is hell that we're talking about. However, with the shutdown of Blizzard South, would Blizzard Irvine today be willing to follow suit? Well, let's look at Diablo 3. Many who played Diablo 3 critiqued its more cartoonish tone and themes. It lacked the gothic tones in favor of a more high fantasy flavor, and though, to their credit, Blizzard Irvine did leave in succubi, and I guess Asmodan had some sexual elements. To all 3 of you out there who want to tug on his nipple rings, I don't know. Bear in mind, this was in 2012, and Blizzard since then have come under vast public scrutiny due to the rise of PC culture, which many of you had commented in the Andariel video. So before we break down the community comments, I do want to touch on why sex and death are actually important in lore and history from fantasy to religion. In etymology, the word succubi is derived from late Latin, from succubere, to lie beneath. Sub, under, and cubere is to lie, and it's used to describe this female supernatural being's implied sexual position relative to the male sleeper's position. The word succubus originates from the late 14th century. The Diablo ties being as depicted in the Jewish mystical work of the Zohar and the medieval rabbinical text, Lilith was Adam's first wife, who became a succubus. However, succubi are also seen in Buddhism and Arabian mythology, among others. There's even scientific reasoning about why succubi were believed to be so widespread in religion, because they would visit you in your dreams. And it's said that people who experience sleep paralysis and the hallucinations that they would actually see were due to the stories that they were told, and nocturnal emissions the body would produce may explain the sexual aspect of this phenomenon. I swear that there's actually been scientific studies about this. Now, I don't want to make light of any religious connotations. This isn't my field of expertise at all. What does interest me is that men specifically seem to fall prey to the female form throughout fantasy and religious text, even to their own peril. Whether the demonic succubi to the welcoming arms of mermaids and sirens depicted as beautiful women looking to lull sailors into a false sense of security while they drag them to their watery grave. Now, I'm no biologist, but there is a direct correlation between a man's specific hardwiring to reproduce, which can at times override our own safety. So we've briefly explored the succubi and their appearances in older Diablo games, and the lore and religious connotations. But now onto the fun stuff, PC culture, and why you're not allowed to enjoy sexy demons anymore. Now, some of you have been questioning whether that nudity in Diablo has been met because of censors, or it was in fact Blizzard kowtowing to internal PC culture. Beginning with SpongeMonkey26, who posited about Sylvanas, design changes pure PC culture. I knew Blizzard was changed forever when Sylvanas' midriff was deemed too much and had to be covered. Now, I'm no WoW aficionado past vanilla, so apologies if this is casual detective work at best. After some digging, I found that yes, Sylvanas had a general upgrade in armor in terms of midriff. Now, it seems though this could be a more battle-ready version of the costume and a tactical upgrade, although history has shown us a few things. The Tracer scandal of Overwatch in 2016 was due to the character doing an innocuous pose where she had been turning over her shoulder and looking backwards, and it was a bit of a butt shot. Now, most of you have seen worse on the daily on Instagram or TikTok a million times, yet fans' backlash rippled throughout Blizzard internally, who then went to question themselves of the validity of a quote-unquote spunky and pure character doing a more risque pose. And this, it seems, has become more prevalent over time. And although this may be a key factor for the art that we've seen thus far, that basically fans, the small vocal minority, have been shouting Blizzard down to now where they're too afraid to show nudity. It could be that demons have to be toned down, or there could be a more pragmatic lore reason why Diablo 4 may not be able to feature sexual demons so overtly.
And you know, she is a demon that scares other demons. She is the demoness of mental anguish. She's so terrifying to other demons that they're the ones who put the chains on her because she's so terrifying. And the heads are the heads of her, you know, like people that wronged her or things like that. But more to come on that in the future.
So let's look at the lore. First, if we cover Lilith, the queen of the succubi. Outside of her fleshy birth, Lilith seems to be holding a more muted sexuality, if any. She's almost regal. But why would that be? Well, we don't know a whole lot more about Lilith's time on Sanctuary just yet in Diablo 4. However, in her official art pre-being rebirthed, Lilith was every bit the succubi, scantily clad and seductive. She was in full mating mode when she met Inarius the Angel, as seen in the artwork and even unreleased comics. So why the change? Well, one reason could be her motives. The summoner states, "Blessed Mother, save us." She already has her children birthed, so she doesn't to seduce. When Lilith was described in the Sin War novels to seduce Odyssean, she shapeshifted into the most pleasing form for Odyssean himself, a blonde woman of noble descent. Now, nothing is written of overt sexual nature because that wouldn't have seduced Odyssean. When her children, the Nephilim, were in danger, she then shapeshifted into a huge, scary, spiky monster. So if we know Lilith, she will choose whichever form is most apt for her task. So if we look at Lilith's design in Diablo 4, she has a demonic yet regal and commanding presence. I believe she isn't looking to mate, but instead instill herself as a matriarch. Poised, graceful, deadly, if you get on her bad side. And so this is just speculation, but it seems that Lilith wants to appear almost human for her quote-unquote children and followers. Looking at Andariel next, we see that she too has lost her succubi form. We already know that she has been bound and chained by other demons, and mentioned in previous Andariel video that she looks to be burnt by the lesser demons and runes have been placed over her body. It seems that the Maiden of Anguish is suffering from anguish of her own. Her back stingers are gone and she appears to be a prisoner. Andariel in her prime was said to convulse in ecstasy in the hells. It was also appears that she is far from being in ecstasy about her current predicament, so my prediction is that lore-wise she has been stripped down, humiliated and scorched beyond recognition. Again, this is a theory, but we shall see how it plays out. If this is a kind of cheeky way for Blizzard to get away with not showing her as being sexual, but also telling a new story, only time will tell. Now, the final piece on why there may be a lack of nudity has to do with China. A lot of people have been arguing that China has stringent laws that forbid nudity and that Blizzard have actively kowtowed to the Eastern behemoth for monetary reasons, which may hold some credence. It's clear Diablo Immortal was created to mainly capture the Eastern audience. However, others have stated that China is actually really okay with nudity, so I'm not sure, I'm caught in the middle on that one, but nobody has talked about esports. We've seen Blizzard capitalize in a huge way on esports, from StarCraft to Hearthstone, and even Overwatch specifically seems to be created to carve a path out in that world. We've also seen key Diablo characters become more cartoonish and palatable to a wider audience in Heroes of the Storm. So could it be that Diablo 4 is avoiding any type of controversial materials for the wider market? Is gore, blood, death, and destruction where they have to draw the line? This is speculation, but only time will tell. If you have your own theory, please let me know in the comments below. Also, if you want to clan up in Diablo 4, we have a Discord that's over 450 members strong, and we're looking for more able bodies to join the crusade. As always, thanks for watching, and until next time, Traveler.